You know, ayahuasca is really a combination of two plants, and one of them is an MAO inhibitor, which is necessary because it's a particular type of enzyme called monoamine oxidase. And if you were to take this one part of the pill, this one plant, your body would inactivate it. So by taking the other one, it blocks that ability, and that's why there's two plants in it. And what it does is when you block the ability of it to neutralize the substance turns into a compound that is ubiquitous, dimethyltryptamine. And dimethyltryptamine is really, if you look at the biochemistry of serotonin, which has to do with sleep and depression, like when people take antidepressants, they take SSRIs, they block the reuptake of serotonin so that more serotonin stays between the two nerves in what's called the synaptic cleft. And if you keep that serotonin there, you won't get depressed. And so that's what they're using. So serotonin is very important. That's also very important. It's all made in the pineal gland, and the pineal gland also makes melatonin, which is, again, another branch off that same metabolic pathway. So our brain, we have receptors all over for dimethyltryptamine, DMT, which is what is ayahuasca. And it is released at periods. So people that have visions, people that have probably these major epiphanies like Einstein had with relativity, was probably, wow, you know, I got it. So the biochemical correlate, it doesn't mean the biochemistry caused it, it's the correlate. You know, a correlate, I mean, it's what's happening on a physical level. You know, you've got what's happening spiritual and psychological, and then there's a basic chemical level. So now dimethyltryptamine is made by plants, insects, bacteria. It's a very fundamental molecule. So what is thought to occur with all of us is at the moment of death, our pineal gland just releases all this dimethyltryptamine and floods our brain with it, and that's how we go through the doorway. So it is that important. And there are even Jewish scholars who believe that that's our connection. That's how the soul gets in and out of the body, is through that. And it's interesting, that's also where the head chakra is, the crown chakra is up there as well. So it's all very interesting. I think it ties into religious disciplines. It's scientifically validated now. The difference is if you were to go somewhere and get DMT, the crystalline product, it's a 15-minute quick journey that's not real. It's not the way nature intended it. And the indigenous peoples know how nature intended it.
Is it a drug?
Well, is broccoli a drug? You know, is cabbage a drug? We could go so far as what is a drug? Is a drug something that you take into your body and it changes the chemistry? Then air is a drug. Water is a drug. So our chemistry is continually being modified, okay? But we have lots of teachers. Plants are our teachers. They're our helpers. Do you realize the relationship we have with plants? What we breathe out, they breathe in. What we excrete, they use. What we use their bodies. If there had to be a symbiosis, it couldn't be better. When we breathe out CO2, they breathe in CO2. They breathe out oxygen, we breathe in oxygen. I die or have a bowel movement, it turns out to nourish them. They die, they give me their body, I eat it, I get nourished. Wow. So that's our relationship with plants. So they're our teachers, our helpers, they sustain us. They sustain the entire animal world. The non-plant, the entire biosphere is maintained by plants who are in direct connection with light. And light's that connection between spirit and matter. So light, plants, and then everything else. So we have a relationship with them, many relationships with them. And most indigenous cultures have had plants that were teachers, that helped them get out of the limited spectrum we're in. Do you realize that we hear 1/10, less than 1/10 of the auditory spectrum? We smell less than 1% of the possible smells. And our vision on the whole electromagnetic spectrum, we're over here. Now, porpoises, what is it? Porpoises, whales, they're hearing cycles of 200,000 times a second. They're hearing things that we don't. Does that mean those things don't exist because we don't hear them? Does that mean when we use dogs to sniff out narcotics or to find a dead body, did those smells not exist? That they existed, we didn't have the sensory apparatus for it. Okay, so plants come along and they help us open up those areas that we can't in our current condition.